deliver our opening remarks. She is Erin Bromaghim, the Deputy Mayor of International Affairs, Office of the Mayor, City of Los Angeles. Please welcome Erin to the stage.
Good morning, everyone. Well, thank you for the kind invitation to join you here today for this amazing summit. Thank you, Dr. Weiss. I want to thank your team as well, and Glenn Osaki from the President's Office. Thank you so much for welcoming me here. I want to recognize for a second USC's leadership with this summit itself. It's in its 11th year, reflecting the commitment that USC has made both to this sector, to this industry, and really to deepening the learning that goes on supply chain. So my name is Erin Bromaghim. I currently serve as Deputy Mayor of International Affairs for Mayor Karen Bass at City Hall. I'm honored to be with you, and I was gonna say I'm especially excited that I get to go ahead of Gene Soroka, but I think you already saw a little of his speaking talent. So it's always a good thing for me when I don't have to follow his remarks, but unfortunately today got a little bit ahead there. Gene is the expert, and it's been my joy to visit port complexes around the world with him in Yokohama and Nagoya and Jakarta, I think, which he happened to have run for some years, speaking about being mobile in a career. And there's a real opportunity, I think, to see the world through a career in supply chain and logistics. There is a language as well inherent to urban resilience that describes shocks and stresses, both of which the Port of Los Angeles and Gene have had to navigate in recent years, from the pandemic, which upended everything, to the ongoing evolution of technology and the realities of climate change. These are the changes that our society faces everywhere, but our supply chain really brings them into context. And it can offer an opportunity to test and innovate solutions. And I'm here to say there's no better place to do that than Los Angeles, where we are home to the world's largest, well, the Western Hemisphere's largest port complex, and to which more than 10% of the jobs in greater Los Angeles are connected. So this topic in today's summit is really critical to our city, to our economy, to our identity as a global city. And even though I started my career working for the US Navy in logistics, counting steaming hours and flying hours across naval echelons, LA is a global city, and that is central to what I do today. So let me tell you just a little bit about what I do as Deputy Mayor of International Affairs, because you may be wondering, why me today? So first, our international relations team, I will say, so my team as Deputy Mayor oversees 3 major portfolios for Mayor Bass. The first is our international relations, which includes a consular corps representing nearly 100 foreign missions that serve our community, as well as all the visiting delegations that come to the city, to City Hall, as well as our 25 sister cities. Second, I also oversee international trade and investment. So that includes both our economic infrastructure assets alongside my colleague who oversees business and economic development, but also marketing Los Angeles as a destination for business and foreign direct investment, and promoting LA's many exports and services abroad. And third, we are preparing for some major international events. So the 2026 FIFA World Cup and the 2028 Olympic and Paralympic Games will bring a tremendous opportunity to showcase Los Angeles to the world. And that's a key part of what we're working towards every day. So these 3 portfolios in a city where 2/3 of our residents are foreign-born or the children of immigrants, it may make it obvious and seem obvious that the mayor would have a deputy mayor of international affairs. But actually, I'm only the 2nd person in Los Angeles to hold this title, and I'm actually the only Deputy Mayor of International Affairs in the United States right now. And I flag this because I think as you are talking about the topic of today, as you're thinking about how to reprogram the global supply chain DNA, I encourage you to think about how the DNA of a city can help define that strategy and can help deliver it. Los Angeles is home to the 3rd largest metropolitan economy in the world, with a GDP valued at more than $1 trillion. If the LA metro area were a country, we'd be the 17th largest economy. That would put us somewhere in between Indonesia and the Netherlands, and unquestionably in the G20. And we're now also the 4th leading startup ecosystem in the world, with rapidly growing venture capital and more than 44 unicorns. That's companies, startups worth more than $1 billion. But as Los Angeles has grown out and up, more and more people are living and working alongside the emissions that drive all of that enterprise. So at the global level, shipping represents about 3% of global carbon emissions. And if the shipping sector were a country, it would be the 8th largest emitter. So how do we leverage our giant market, our giant global city, to set a new normal that aligns with our economic engines and aligns to a greener, more just economy? So in short, I think we do it by setting bold goals, by innovating, and by scaling what works. The Port of LA is a great example, as is the airport, but I'll point out the port and hope not to steal too much of what Jean's about to share with you in a minute. Just to highlight that the port has signed green shipping corridor agreements with 5 international ports, partners in Shanghai, Singapore, Yokohama, Tokyo, and Nagoya, all focused on setting goals and working towards zero emissions on both port side and on vessels. And this complements the goals the port has already set to zero emissions from drayage trucks by 2035, and the many goals as part of the Clean Air Action Plan. These goals will require new technologies and investment, but they also do something critical. They bring everybody along with us. They help our partners around the world come into collaboration as we think about how to implement these goals, as well as broader sustainability targets. So in the 20 plus years since I was worrying about naval logistics, I have seen a lot of supply chain change, from the evangelism of lean and just in time to the surplus of just in case. And I hope the discussion today brings some balance to that conversation. And I think you should also spend some time, as you consider the DNA of the cities that you work in, how we also work towards a just supply chain. So how can our supply chain help us contextualize and deliver smarter and more sustainable growth? I don't have all the answers, but I'm confident that you will work toward them over these next 2 days. And I pledge that Los Angeles welcomes the chance to innovate and scale these solutions with you. So thank you so much.